Alright, welcome back to Hearts of Iron 4, Millennium Dawn modded playthrough of Colombia. We're moving along in the year 2022. You can see our army groups here, they're all training. We do have a justification for Cassius Belli against Colombia. Just making some excuse to declare war. Looks like we'll have to figure out something with regard to the Mexican Air Force. I think our supply lines are kind of finishing out as well. Like we've upgraded our first rail line here. I'm about to finish that up. Should have a lot of forts coming through to fruition as well. I'm gonna check our fuel. Do need to figure out a solution to our fuel problem. We are about to get 4th gen avionics. That's pretty cool. A lot of aircraft stuff is about to be finished up here. Okay. So size 6. There. Yeah, we're low on power, it looks like, too. That's crazy. Alright, let's go ahead and get nuclear power plants on order. Go ahead and get 2 of those going. Move that down. And what else would I make nuclear power at? Probably here. That's central region. And just have that off the bottom section of the queue where I can't actually click it. Just leave it there. Okay, so we have anti-tank weapons. Ooh. Yeah, fuel is dropping fast, down to 200 days. Alright, so we got 4th gen avionics. I can go ahead and wait, because anything else is going to be ahead of time research. Let's check on the fuel situation. 2020. This is going to help us immensely, because I'm pretty sure a lot of our fuel is a bunch of new power plants and pop problems. Yeah. No, sorry, yeah. They had an oil-based economy. So we'll get that all solved here shortly. Wish I had a larger power surplus going into this. Pretty sure the like Mexican land forces are going to be a lot stronger though than I am giving them credit for. And our training is terrible. Minus 15% combat modifier is crazy low. Guatemala. Okay, so do I have the forts? I do have forts already built in some of this land. That's good. I definitely want to have this defense kind of built out with fallback points and everything in case we just absolutely get crushed on this front line. Yeah, Honduran, Caribbean. Those are all further back. Are there forts that I'm missing? Bolivar and stuff. Not seeing them. Oh, right here. So here. For some reason. We'll bump those up. Those are frontline forts. All right, and then we've got rail line for the Darien Gap. I want all this bumped up. And all these rail lines. It's size 6 rail lines going to the front line here. And then some sort of duplicate, and we'll get all that going. Bahrain took control of the Gulf Cooperative Corporation. Pretty good on them. I'm going to lower that. We're going to bump all this rail up. In priority. Alright, so we need to make all those supply lines all over the place. Doesn't really matter where they are, they just need to get built. Yeah, so Bogota has a lot of this finished up. Should now have size 6 rail over a lot of this territory. That'll give us some growth bonuses we're missing out on right now. And we'll have a rail line going all the way up to Saudi Arabia is attacking Kuwait? That's unexpected. I've never seen that. Not Iraq, but Saudis. Definitely unexpected. Alright, we have enough political power now. Let's start working with El Salvador here. Got a ton of money too, so I'm going to go ahead and pay down all this debt. Let's get investments going there, and if Belize would do it, but they're not. We're going to go ahead and do... Where's the auto influence button? I'm going to need... We'll target their own influence. This is expensive, but I want to get us over 10%. Go ahead and auto influence. And we'll do the same thing to Belize as well. After we work on El Salvador. Yeah, you can see our rail lines. Yeah, we'll get a lot of this wrapped up. I think a ton of this is actually probably... Yeah, a lot of this is around the capital. So that's actually an economic boon. Do the Industrial Revolution thing. Get the modern air to ground weapons next. Okay. Near future. That's pretty crazy to still be getting 4.86 political power a turn right now. Not bad. All right. So auto influence went through. Let's see if I can click anything. Probably not. Let's target their domestic influence. And we'll just keep doing that. Got them over that 20 threshold. And we're not joining any sanctions. All right. Got a little bit of influence in Colombia. Let's go ahead and bump that. See if I can... I cannot. Doesn't look like they can actually build the plants. Alright, finishing up some mastery stuff. That's pretty cool. Get those extra bonuses we need. Yeah. Looks like most units at least have base level training now. That's all I can say about it. Oh god, power. Bump all this up. Getting everything trained up. And we've still got crazy gaps that need to be finished here in our rail network. Should be building lines around this area too, is what it looks like. All right, got our strategic bombers, 3rd gen done. Let's get the 4th on order. Military industrial, we're gonna go ahead and work on our aircraft manufacturer. Just go ahead and upgrade it. Yeah, this gives a research bonus. Flat. And task capacity bonus. So let's go ahead and take a second here. So we got the wing form. We could work on engine or protective technologies. I think the engine is probably more advantageous, so we're going to go for that right now. It's like 4 new trained units. So we'll send those down south. Exoskeletons done. Fuel reserves definitely are a problem. And I'm not going to have a solution immediately. It looks like we have 180 days, so 6 months. So quite a duration. And go ahead and do the manual influence. Okay. 90 days isn't going to cut it at all. See what facilities, civilian R&D. I could recruit another. This isn't going to help at all. It's going to get the notice off. The only benefit that that's going to give me, which does reduce your system resources. So I have pretty good evidence that in large wars, a lot of notices do cause crashing, at least in other versions of the game or the mod. So I do try and keep our notices down as much as possible when possible. Right now, I don't think it's going to happen, but Black Operations is done. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and upgrade those top level spy agency bonuses. That should help more than some other things. And I'm going to actually bump up our preferred build queue options. Get some of these roads we're missing. Knocked out, because that'll help our build speed overall. And then we'll quickly finish up the rail lines. Where is Miranda? Okay, so that's in Venezuela. Yeah, I do kind of need to pay attention to where we have infrastructure and also the research bonuses. Yeah, like all these. Hmm. They're fighting back. They definitely want to kick our influence out. I just think we have too much. We'll see, though. Too much political power for that to even be a problem. Yeah, and that's not enough manpower to actually hold this front against Mexico by any stretch of the imagination. Production-wise, we're making 2 planes a week, basically, right now. It isn't bad, it's just not enough. And they're also pretty weak planes. They're not like good designs. And then where are we with rail lines? And a lot of the infrastructure built out we need coming from the capital. It's just not everything we're going to need. I need to figure out 90 days of fuel. So let's see how much oil I'm short. We'll trade with the US. Go for 8. 8 is extending it, not doing enough. 16. Doing something. It's not a lot, though. 24. Let's add all the way up to 48. Double that. That gives us enough days. I go a full 8. We have a year's worth of fuel supply at that point. So we have a significant gap in fuel. That is very problematic. Alright, let's check out El Salvador here. I'm going to try and bump this up to 30%. And we'll just let it sit at 30 for a second. If greater than 5 years worth of fuel, not actually taking us over the top though. 9 civilian industries, 72 oil. That does get us over the top. And 1 full stack of factories has us in surplus. And it'll take about a year to get enough fuel to fill up our fuel reserves. All right, how are we looking, and how long does our war deck till October, and we can make a decision. Let's check our units. I'm gonna have everyone dig in. If I could cut this off, that would be the best move. And they're just going to be able to break through these lines. They have too many mechanized units. Well, maybe not. They'll probably get a lot of debuffs from the type of terrain. I am really curious what would happen. Oh, that's weird. You see them pulling all those units out? So we have 83 divisions on that front. Well, let's let it ride for a little bit, see what happens. A lot of roads. Do I have all the forts built? I do not. So that's another thing. So like these. Be nice to have those forts too. And then manpower is another thing altogether. Go ahead and manually influence El Salvador. Yeah, I don't have fuel. I don't have Air Force units, planes as backups. I don't have... I'm not going to declare war by October. It's just not going to be realistic. Not without fuel reserves. I just don't see it happening. Now, if I had more manpower, I would think about it. If I had 100,000 to 500,000, maybe. And good supply lines. But I'm a little behind on building all that. I also kind of have power problems, so any sort of bombing that actually gets through is going to really hurt. Definitely debatable if I want to do that. think about this. We've got 10 days to figure it out. Like, rail lines are built out, are getting built out. It's just going to be a long time. Fuel gain. It's quite a ways. In early Cold War armor. Alright, let's look and see what we're up against stockpile wise, and that's going to determine whether or not I make this call. So they have they have possibly M1 Abrams, A2 Abrams, sorry, and V3s. They have a ton of old tanks. I don't know what version of Abrams that is. They have 107 of it. First gen IPCs or IFVs, sorry. I was looking. I've done that the second time, and there's an APC. How many planes? Not a ton of planes. Got a large navy, not a huge air force. I don't have intel even. Okay, we'll wait till the next war deck cycle to make this war. I think that's going to be the best course of action we could take. Unless I start it and we just try and wait it out. Let's do that. Let's see how good they are. We're going to go for it. We're actually just going to go for it. We'll let them attack us a little bit. Doesn't look like they can break through. We've got a more advantageous position. Let's just go for it. See if we can push off and take some territory. They don't have the terrain bonuses. They've got old equipment. It's not advanced equipment. Their infantry might be on par with ours. Yeah. So they're going to be cycling equipment in and out on these territories is what's going to happen. So we are pushing them back in the mountains. Ooh. Yeah, we've already got them walking back. If we can divide them and get an encirclement there, that would actually be huge. Because we are actually pushing ahead here a little bit. Let's see how our Air Force is doing. Not going to be getting air superiority any time soon. That's all I can say there. Let's see if I can get 2 air wings of pagodas. Providing air superiority up in Mexico. That'd be interesting. There we go. Get some fighters moving into the territory there. Well, this is weird. Why would we move our units this way? It's very confusing. I don't know why 16 of our divisions would have moved over to that territory. Doesn't make sense. But whatever. And looks like we're going for the airfield, which is going to draw a lot of support. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious what they're going to do. And if they're going to attack. Defending is one thing. If we attack here and get this split in half, they either have to evacuate everyone through this port, or they're going to have to try and defend it. I imagine they're going to evacuate units to these other front lines. And I can reallocate stuff here. All right, 1 second. We'll buy shares. I need to manually influence. Gonna go ahead and target their domestic influence as well and get back over 30. Let's get a operative. It's probably got 4 units here I can move. I'm gonna throw them into this division in the south. Let's go ahead and take this division off of this line with Brazil. Stop their training. And move them to the north here. Nope, wrong way. Just have them fill out there. They'll get over there. It's just going to take a minute. And we would prefer to widen this gap as they withdraw. Looks like we are widening the gap. So Army Group 2, we're just going to be waiting for them to get into position. All right, cool. So they are going to use their backdoor on us. That's what I'm going to gather. So they're going to try an offensive. Let's go ahead and evaluate our troop placement here real quick once these get into position. Yeah. Looks like we're just holding a defense. I'm going to go ahead and bump our military spending up to sizable. That'll give us probably some leeway. So we do some armor research here. Looks like I'm gonna go ahead and do like a research there. All right. Reallocating all divisions right now. So all offensive actions are stopped. The front line is reestablished until the front line is reestablished. We are gonna go just for a general offensive. And let's get these units into position. And their objective will be to clean this section. Alright, that should help with fuel to some extent as well. 2025 is a bit out, so I'm not going to worry about that. We're going to go for fuel refining research. Alright, looks like our units are moving out. I can actually feed our units, I could call it that. Looks like let's go on the offensive here. We'll put pressure from that front while we reposition. I'm surprised they were able to beat that back. Not too surprised, but fairly. Yeah, so if we expand this front and establish... Do we move forward? Okay. Let's see what we've got for gains. Expert staffer, we can have larger armies. Yep. So we'll go on the offensive. We just want to put pressure on these units so that they're not able to entrench. We are taking some losses, though. All right. Improvements. Fairly good improvements. Gonna go ahead and research reconnaissance stuff. Yep. We got pushed out again. Yep. That's good. Then the secret police. And don't forget to manually influence El Salvador. All right, so Army Group 2 is actually making solid enough gains on their own. Let's check on the rail lines supplying here. This is going to be a key line we want to make sure we build. And also here, if we can get multiple lines connected into their rail network, that'll be a miracle for us. Yep, and they're done here in the Yucatan. This is an extinction level event for the Mexican army. And there we go. So by December We have all the vacation spots for the Americans. We've pretty much... If we take this first, this port, then all these units are trapped. I'm surprised they ended up giving that up first. And we're just going to end up deleting all those units. Nice. Alright, let's check how the war is actually going. Looks like they have huge losses compared to us, which is surprising, considering we don't have any mechanized forces. Period. I'm going to keep Army Group 2 in reserve for when we end up pushing more into their territory. As far as this is concerned, I can't say a lot about this. Go ahead and put supply hubs where possible, but not a lot I can do. Yeah, we'll end up pushing along the coast here. We take out these airfields, I really don't think they have a way of fighting back. Yeah, we're definitely struggling on the offensives, but defensive actions are going fine. Yeah, and then our manpower gain is just right around what our expenses. That's quite wild. The consumption rate. Getting worse, though, as we get away from our supply lines. Oh, we took it. That's unfortunate, because if they're going to move units in to try and keep us out of it, they lose their entrenchment bonuses. Alright, agency computers. I do not have a backdoor yet for us. We're about to get one, though. Naval battle. This is actually surprising. I can't believe we actually took something out. That's incredible. Nope, that was good. Yep. It's going to be harder to hold ground as we get more into this flat land. They should have more of an advantage due to their mechanized forces. Ooh. Is that their main Pride of the Fleet? I sunk the Pride of the Fleet with only 11 ships. Rest in peace, Mexican Navy. That's unfortunate. All right. And I'm going to end this episode here. Thanks for watching. I'll catch everyone on the next one. Y'all have a good one.